Welcome, everybody. I'm John Kormanik, CEO and head coach at John R Kormanik Coaching. And today we're going to do 25 minutes on a topic that's near and dear to my heart, a topic that is necessary for you to get to the next level, a topic that's necessary for you to master your time, and that is delegation. So let's dive right in. Here we go. Mastering the art of letting go. That's what we're talking about today. That is, in a nutshell, the most difficult part of delegating is letting go. For many of us, me included, control is a thing. So we're going to talk about how to delegate appropriately, how to delegate properly, how to delegate effectively and efficiently to free up the most valuable resource that you have, which is your time. As we talked about, 25 minutes, we've got 14 slides. We're going to talk about at the top the mindset challenges to delegation. There are four of them. There are probably more, but four of them that I like to speak about and challenge clients on. Then we're going to do an overview of the four levels, and then we're going to do a deep dive into each one. We'll recap, and I'll issue you a challenge at the end of our time together today, and then we'll wrap it up. At the end of the day, you are the bottleneck, period, full stop. Doesn't matter what we're talking about in your law practice. You are the bottleneck. And here's how I know this. You have 168 hours in a week. That's it. That's all you have. And if you are not delegating at a high level, your time becomes the limiter. Your time becomes the limiter. Your focus becomes the limiter. Your energy becomes the limiter. You are the bottleneck. Prove me wrong. Think about things in your practice that aren't moving along as quickly as you'd like or as efficiently as you'd like. And then think about where you are, in fact, holding up the process. You're the bottleneck. Here are the four mindsets that we really struggle with in delegating, and they prohibit us or hold us back from delegating effectively. Look, I don't want to lose control, right? I like having control. I love having control. That's a thing. And we believe that when we delegate, we lose control. It might be true, it might not be true. I don't know. And you don't know. The second one is perfectionism. Perfectionism is a thing in the law. Don't pretend it's not, it is. But perfectionism, if I give it to someone else, they are not going to do it perfectly. That may or may not be true. We don't know, right? If you set up the team, then they ought to be able to do it at a level that is acceptable, right? And those first two ones, that loss of control and perfectionism, those all really reside or stem from our understanding as lawyers that our name is our currency. Our reputation is really what it's all about. And so they come from there. The third one, fear of being less essential. This has to do with the second lie that lawyers tell themselves, which is if I'm not busy, I'm lazy, right? If I hand things off to other people, then I will feel less essential. My calendar will have blank spots in it. And what the heck am I supposed to do then? Well, here's what you're supposed to do then. You're supposed to sit back and think strategically. Give yourself space to breathe. Step off the hamster wheel or the treadmill or whatever optic you have in your head, whatever image you have in your head of the daily grind, Step off that and give yourself time to be strategic. So that fear of being less essential. And number four, this time investment, it should be misperception. How many times have you told yourself, it's just easier if I do it? It'll be faster if I do it, right? That's this time investment misperception. We think, well, we have all the knowledge, we have the skill, we can do it, we've done it before, I'll just bang it on out. That's true if it's truly a one off type activity. It is a lie if it is not a truly one off type of activity. And there are very few truly one off type of activities. There just aren't a lot of them. There's many things in law practices that are a repeatable thing, whether it is identically repeatable or close enough repeatable. And so this thought that we have, this lie that we tell ourselves of it's just easier if I do it, it'll be quicker, just isn't true. And so stepping back from that, shifting that mindset and thinking this is a repeatable thing, someone ought to be able to do it. Someone else ought to be able to do it. So those are the four mindset shifts, the four mindsets that we have that really prohibit us delegating at a high level. There are four levels of delegation. There's the doing, and you might say that doesn't sound like delegating at all. Well, it's really not. And we do a lot of things that we think in this doing space are delegation. There's deciding, there's delegating, true delegation, and then there's optimal delegation, which is designing. And we're going to talk about each one of these in a bit of detail, not a tremendous amount, just a bit. We have 25 minutes, as I said. So the level one, the doing, and this photo kind of tells it all, right? It's the hands, everybody, he's doing everything. He's doing all the things, right? This is direct, you're involved in direct task execution. You are doing at least part of the thing. Here are some obstacles that lead to this type of, and I'm going to use quotes, delegation, because it's not really delegation. Lack of trust in your team. If you don't have a team that you can trust, then you're not going to give them stuff. We've already talked about how your name and reputation is your currency as a lawyer. If you don't trust your team to do the thing, why in the world would you hand it off? Which leads to an even better question is, why do you have a team that you can't trust? But that's a topic for another day. The misperception of time investment. Again, it's just easier if I do it. That is rarely the case. Rarely the case. And then that thought, only I can do this. No one else can do it at the level that I can do it. No one else can do it how I do it. Part of that is true. You are 1 in 7 plus or 8 billion people on the planet. No one can do it exactly how you do it. That is true. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that no one else can do it the way that you can do it, so long as it gets done, right? That's the thing. You've got 168 hours on your week time plate. That's all you have. And if you're smart, and I know that you're smart, a third of that is invested in sleeping because of all the benefits of sleeping that we know about now and the new ones that we discover every day. So this concept of only I can do it, it feels good to the ego. It's not really true when we're talking about delegating. There are some things that only you ought to do, and those are not delegatable, right? You don't do that. But the rest of the stuff that's not in your 20% or your zone of genius, however you want to, whatever words you want to use, it's not true that only you can do it. The results for your team are, or for you and your team, number one is surface level release. Oh, I gave this to Jane. Yeah, but you're still kind of doing it. So you're lying to yourself. So it's that surface level relief. Number two, there's a lack of skill development on behalf of your team. They don't develop because you're always there and you're in it with them. You don't give them any autonomy. You don't give them any ability to think for themselves. You're just kind of in it with them. And so they don't develop the skills. And number three is increased supervision. And that again leads back to that misperception of time. Well, if I'm going to have to direct them and I'm going to have to be intimately involved, it's just easier if I do it, right? Increased supervision. That's the problem with level one delegation, the doing level of delegation. It's not effective. It's not efficient. It's not going to move the ball forward. Number two, deciding. You allow the team to execute, but require numerous approvals each step of the way before they can make any decisions. Level two, deciding, is the level of micromanaging. That's what's going on here, right? It's micromanaging at its best. And here are the mindsets, right? That lead to level two delegation. My reputation is my currency. So of course I'm going to micromanage. I have to hold on. I must maintain control. And I know best, which reminds me of a wonderful conversation that I heard Rick Rubin, the music producer, having. He says, and I agree with this, and if you look around the world, I think you'd agree with it too. Human beings are generally lazy people. And we were built that way, right? We were built for short bursts and then to rest and relax. Olympic athletes are wonderful resters and recoverers. But anyway, Rick Rubin talks about this human laziness in a unique way. And here's what he says. You know, when we come upon a solution to a problem that we have, we stop. We don't naturally or without intention continue to iterate. We just stop because it works, right? It's taken away the pain that we were experiencing. And so we just kind of step out and that's it. Okay, this is how we do things now. And so that I know best thought is I know what worked for me at the time. It's not necessarily that I know best because I haven't iterated. And so this level two of micromanaging and deciding is a level where you don't allow your team to iterate, right? We do it this way because it's the way that works. We do it this way because it's the way we've always done it. Think about how many times you've heard that and how many times you've said it, right? It's just that is true. We do it this way because, but it doesn't mean it's the optimal way. The results to the team of level two delegation are misalignment with the broader goals. They don't understand the big picture because you're in it and you're micromanaging. Number two, they potentially overcomplicate things in order to please you, in order to make sure it's done your way. They may overcomplicate it. And number three, dependency risks. Here's what dependency risks are. The work product isn't what the work product should be, and it comes to you and you fix it. And it's over and over and over again. And so they come to rely on you. You come to become a crutch for them. Oh, Jane will fix it. She always does. So I'll just do this. I won't learn from it. I'll do it and I'll give it to her and she'll fix it. And then we won't have any kind of follow up. There won't be any follow up and no after action review about how things went well and things didn't go well. Because again, time is the thing. That's level two, deciding. Level three is delegating. This is the first level of true delegation. You delegate both the task and the authority, the ownership of the task in level three. Level three is delegating ownership. They own it. Some obstacles that you may experience with level three delegation is discomfort with letting go of outcomes. So being outcome focused as opposed to being process focused. And also that lack of involvement, lack of worth, right? Who am I if I don't do this thing? Well, you are who you are. That thing, doing the thing doesn't define you. A lot of the folks that I work with, elite managing partners and CEOs of law firms, struggle with this, right? If I'm not in it, John, am I really a lawyer? Well, you're not a lawyer. You practice law. You are a human being, a multifaceted, fantastic, wonderful, inspirational, flawed human being. The law is what you do, right? It's not who you are. And so that discomfort in delegating, well, if I don't do it, am I really a lawyer? Am I really, insert whatever word you want to here? So those are some mindsets that are involved and are challenged by level 3 delegation. Some of the results to the team with level 3 delegation could be overburdening. So if you delegate too much, they become overburdened. And that's a thing. We must, as leaders, ensure that our team is empowered to push back. So if you come to me and you say on Monday and you say, John, this is a priority, and you know it's going to take 5 days to get done, whatever, right? 5 hours. And then you come to me on Tuesday and you say, John, this is a priority. I have to be empowered to ask, okay, now I have 3 things that you said are a priority. I heard this guy Kormanik talk about how priority means one, because it does. That's the definition of it. We've twisted it to list our top 5 priorities. That's not a thing, folks. Priority means one. So what is the most important thing? Your team needs to be empowered to come back to you and say, okay, I've got these 3 things. Which one should I put to the side? You have to build that culture. Number 2 is the fear of failure. Teams with this level of delegation, both the task and the authority, can fear failure, and feel it as well. What happens if I don't do this right? Again, this is a culture thing. There is no failure until it goes out the door, right? There is learning. There's a learning opportunity always, always, always. And that fear of failure is combated with a robust feedback loop. Hey, this is what you did. Let's sit down. Let's talk about how it went well, how it didn't go well, how we can move to the future. And number 3 is resource hoarding. So if you delegate certain things to certain people, number 1, they're going to become experts in it. And then they're going to have leverage over you because they're not going to, you're not going to let them walk out the door because they are the person who does this thing. That's number 1. Number 2, they're going to create a bit of a fiefdom. I'm watching Shogun. They're talking about fiefs. So they're going to create a bit of a fiefdom where they're going to hoard the resources and they're not going to share. So it's something to be mindful of, right? These 3 things: overburdening, fear of failure, and resource hoarding, as the leader, are things for you to be mindful of as you work in this space. Level 3 delegating is good delegating for you. It's good. You have to be mindful of what's going on with your team. And finally, level 4 delegating. Delegating tasks and empowering the team to take ownership and innovate. Here's how I describe level 4. Level 4 is owning the result. And the result is nothing short of excellence, continued excellence over time. Every single project I give to Jane comes back. I have to spend maybe a few minutes polishing, just putting the final touches on, brushing it up, shining it up before it goes out the door. That's level 4 delegating. Tasks and empowering the team to take ownership of the thing and innovate, make it better, drive towards excellence, continue leveling up. Here are the obstacles for you for level 4 delegation. You have to shift your mindset from doer to visionary. You are not a doer in level 4. You are the visionary who sets that destination and allows your team to get there. The second one is the mindset shift from manager to leader. You are not a manager in level 4 delegation. That is not who you are. That's not what you do. You are a leader. You give your team autonomy. They have to be trusted. And after all, you hired them. So if you don't trust them, that's a conversation for another day. So, doer to visionary, manager to leader. The results: consistent success, long-term growth and skill development for your team, trust and autonomy for your team and between you and the team, and strategic alignment because they're going to have the big picture. The magic of level 4 delegation is you are able to leverage human capital to achieve your goals. That's what delegation is all about. It's leveraging human capital to achieve your goals, and it frees up so much of your most valuable resource, which is your time. So let's recap. Here are the 4 levels. Level 1 is doing. It does not create freedom of time for you. It's a lie. It feels good, but it does not create freedom of time. Level 2, deciding, micromanaging, in other words, does not promote ownership, doesn't promote ownership for your team. And so they're going to think they're just dealing with widgets. They're not dealing with widgets. They're dealing with important things in people's lives. That's why you're in the law. Level 3 is delegating. It may not feel comfortable for you or for them. It's a process. You need to work into it, create the culture and the environment for it to be successful. And ultimately, level 4 is designing. It creates freedom and promotes ownership by your team. Here's my challenge to you. What is one thing that you can delegate at level 2, level 3, or level 4 today? What is one thing as you are watching this video, whether it's live or you're watching the recording? What's one thing that you can delegate? What's one thing that you ought not be doing that you have someone on your team to delegate it to? Think about that and then execute on it. Bill Gates, the best leaders are the ones who know how to delegate. I'm not going to argue with Bill Gates. I'm not going to argue with the man. Okay? Are you? Are you going to argue with him? Are you going to say this is not true? The best leaders hoard and do everything themselves? We know that's not true, right? We may think, I don't have someone to delegate to. That's a conversation for another day. We may think, my name and my reputation is my currency. That's true, and it ought not get in the way of delegating. The best leaders are the ones who know how to delegate. So, if you're interested in anything that I've talked about today, if you want to talk about it, you want to bounce ideas, you have questions, ping me. If you want to explore coaching with me, please. These are the areas that I coach in. One-on-one weekly leadership coaching for elite law firm partners. I run a mastermind group. It's the Law Leader Syndicate, and it's an exclusive monthly mastermind. You have to apply to get in. There are certain standards that you must meet. I do goal-setting retreats for law firms, and I do assessments, both attitudinal and personality assessments for lawyers. This is all work for lawyers by a lawyer. If you want to learn more, here are my deets. You can just email me at my name, john@johnrkormanik.com, or go to the website, johnrkormanik.com, to book a 30-minute discovery session. It's been awesome. I hope that you received value. Leave feedback wherever you're watching this. Provide feedback. And I will see you next month for the 24th installment of my live monthly presentation. Take care. Be well.